Yo, Scyfe here, and I've got a Plat 1 Vod review from one of my subscribers, and oh boy, there were so many mistakes in this one game.
I think we'll be pushing A though.
Pistol round, your team looks to attack A site, but for whatever reason your solo thinks otherwise, especially as an initiator. To be on the other side of the map doesn't achieve much, since you didn't establish to one another we're doing a fake towards A. I like the flash here, forcing the player off this angle and allowing your team to push up, in turn pressuring that player to fall back to site. Knifing here normally is perfectly fine, but because your solo is towards B, knifing backside would be better because heaven and tree will be smoked off. This is even more confusing. Your solver's not even lurking as he darted on B tree, which achieves absolutely nothing other than delay one player from rotating fast. But had the solver been there, he could have easily darted backside and droned, making it much easier to enter site and spot any aggro players.
Nice.
These two omen smokes were so poor. You should always have your smokes flush against an entrance point or an angle. That way if they decide to peek, it's not from the two angles. You'll see their body pass first before they even see you. It's great your duelists were able to create space for the rest of the team, but doors should be closed before you start planting, because if a Rainer decides to hide in that protruding smoke, she can peek, kill you and E away to safety. I'm loving your KO flashes, and it's something I don't particularly see often as it prevents the aggro players from pushing up and playing this position, forcing them off that angle. Great that your duelists are being aggro, but I see this too much where players are too fixated on killing and head to CT or going to market to bag those eco kills. Always make sure as a duelist you're helping the team to get onto the site.
We wanna go A?
This is the round you do a bonus. A bonus is when you win the first two rounds and you stick with the gun saved from the previous round or rounds, fully knowing that you're at a disadvantage, but it allows your team to fully buy the next 1 to 2 rounds.
Sure.
I'm already recognizing a strong pattern. First round you went A, second round you went B, third round you're going A. It's common in most ranks, even more so under Ascendant, but try to vary your attacks. This will make it much harder for the enemy to predict and set up traps. Omen should be using the minimap to smoke early so that when his teammates peek, they're not greeted by a player on heaven and immediately smoking door. Because he failed to smoke quick enough, the solver died for free, and also the solver should never ever be entering like this. He has a drone for a reason. He could have easily cleared so many angles, making the push much easier and allowing the agent's design to create space. The same pattern is still there, A, B, A, B, and at this point it should be very predictable for the enemy to set up traps. Now would be the best time to take mid control and look to punish greedy defenders due to your team's lack of a flank covering sentinel. It's kind of enticing the enemy to lurk, and because your team is here in every site you make contact, it makes it easier to lurk and insta-rotate for the enemies.
Chill, don't fight. Can you watch right side?
This was a great example of how communicating and directing your teammate helps you win crucial rounds. Had you stayed silent, the Omen might have greeted for the kill and end up dying, leaving you in a 1 versus 1. Setting up a trade like you did was superb, because if the Omen makes contact with the enemy on stairs, you swing out and kill, and the same for lane. This way of playing out this type of scenario almost guarantees you the round. However, something that I love doing and is common in the high echelons is bailing out that trade by pre-frying, let's say, the Omen and forcing the player backside to peek.
Oh, we're close enough.
Yeah, again, the Omen is doing the same funky smokes, which ultimately gets you killed. The moment you notice your controller doing these types of smokes, you should immediately let them know, as it gives the enemy an avenue to chill inside. And because you couldn't safely close the door, it eventually snowballed into your team losing that round. A prime example of how such a small snowball can spiral out into such a big problem. It's the finer details and habits that dictate the results of rounds. This form of lazy peeking and not anticipating the enemy is incorrect, and the higher up you go, the more you will get punished. When peeking a site, make sure every common angle is cleared correctly. The solo fight was weird because you did 2 micro adjustments that were way off. Usually that initial flick is off, but the micro adjustment should typically land, and ultimately it's indicative that your mouse control and your micro flicks isn't good enough. Here's a simple routine that should help address this issue. Spawning a singular bot and start flicking. If you miss, no problem. Take the time to micro adjust Stop, then shoot. And over time, increase your speed. Remember, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Another mistake you made was because your micro adjustments were off, you forced yourself into crouch spraying. Nothing wrong with crouching in short range engagements, but from that distance and especially after already spraying, you're asking to be killed. For whatever reason, you and the Sova, both info gathering agents, are on the exact same side on the pistol, with both duelist tools B side. In a situation like this, you should be letting the Sova know go B because it's better for him to go B, or if he doesn't listen, you take the onus and go B yourself. By having you and the Sova on either side, it allows you to both gather info, and in pistol rounds, majority of players typically hit one side fast.
Okay, go. Oh, he's on me.
Last player standing.
But you both played that 1 vs 2 horribly. Sova joining is good as it's a way to get information, but instead of holding the only possible place the jet can push, you decide to ignore or not anticipate that a push from the jet was even possible, especially with the bomb not even being planted. This is a sign your understanding of the game and or identifying the options the jet can take is lacking. But this is something that can be improved by reviewing your games the same way I'm reviewing this VOD right now. If you're hard stuck in any of these ranks, check out my game sense guide on your screen right now, guaranteed to help you rank up. And as always, until next time.